Well, hello people, and welcome back to part 48 of Orchid Bay. Hope you're having a wonderful day. A couple months ago we asked the chat GPT AI to design us a suburb, and you guys really enjoyed it, so now we're rehashing that idea to this time ask them to design us a older downtown by the sea. So let's see what it has to say. Cool, so it has given us the name Seaside Haven, a general overview, some stuff on streets and layouts and how we can use cobblestone streets, some stuff on architecture, some old Victorian era style buildings, so it might be an excuse to use some of the European stuff here maybe. Also wants us to have a harbour on the waterfront. The harbour is the heart of Seaside Haven where fishing boats generally dock, so we can definitely get some fishing assets in there too. Some landmarks include a lighthouse, we can use Find It to grab a lighthouse. We also have a hotel and a fish market plus a town square, and then some stuff on local activities. So this is perfect for cities, right? This is absolutely perfect. We can definitely do this. So let's dive into Orchid Bay and start building what our AI overlords are telling us to. So this is going to be the area that we're working on today, and the AI's conclusion is that Seaside Haven, which we have named Haven, offers a serene escape from the hustle and bustle of modern life, inviting visitors to take a step back in time and immerse themselves in the charm of an older downtown by the sea. Its unique blend of historical architecture, coastal beauty, and vibrant cultural scene makes it an enchanting destination for travellers seeking an authentic and relaxing experience. So that sounds like a lot of fun, doesn't it? Let's get started out with a little bit of road frameage. So it mentioned that it wants cobblestone roads, and I think a lot of the content creator roads are going to be perfect for this, for getting these sort of textures in. But first of all, I'd actually like to establish a little bit of road hierarchy. So let's remove these roads here, and we will obviously keep this station in, but this isn't going to be the entrance into Haven. So snuff our road guidelines, and we're going to start bringing up an entry road here. We'll go for 4-lane road with decorative trees. I guess we can just connect the rail crossing in there. That's probably going to be the most convenient place, isn't it? And then we'll veer this road here towards the sea, where I imagine a bit of pedestrian road is going to take place. And I probably want to recurve this train line here now, because it's going to be a little bit in my way. So let's start curving it as it comes out of the station, and then we can have it kind of run right through the middle of the downtown, I think. So I'll just have it go that direction for right now, frees up a little bit more of that coastline. So I definitely want to factor in pedestrian road. It mentioned that old cobblestone should be a part of the design, so we'll definitely run with cobblestone design for a good chunk of it today, I reckon. And let's go with the large cobblestone with trees. And we'll send it this way for right now, just keep it curving all the way around this coastline. Probably have to do a little bit of terraforming there just to get rid of that kind of harsh vanilla lip that forms on the sea, but a little bit of slope terrain will fix that, no problem. And it also wanted to make room for a fishing wharf as well, didn't it? So I think we'll do that further down this way over here. And we'll upgrade to perhaps a fancier tree. Maybe we'll go for... I think the date palm kind of gives an older vibe, doesn't it? Maybe some California shorties on the coast road. I guess we'll see. We can always change it up, can't we? We'll see how it sort of fits in with the build. So flashing back to what our AI overlords told us is that the town should embrace a grid pattern typical of older downtowns with narrow cobblestone streets, with lots of park squares and public spaces, and a central promenade that lines the seafront, which we've already included, which gives stunning views of the harbour. So that sounds fantastic, doesn't it? What a place to live. I definitely want more road connections coming into that central promenade, so we'll add another one down here. Let's go for a grass median. It said that there should be quite a lot of landscaping through here, so we'll try and embrace that where we can. And then I want to use a lot of the European 2-lane stone road, because this is going to allow us to have those grid formats in that the AI wants us to include. And also with this cycle lane here, let's actually downgrade this into no zoning at all. I think we'll let the old stone road here take the priority. Bring it through here, so we're running grids of 10 is usually a safe bet, isn't it? So let's stick with this. Snap in where the game wants us to. So now we can have these old cobble lined streets that come down toward the waterfront. Over here I think I'd like to move down into a smaller cobblestone pedestrian road and hopefully hit the road guideline of that cobblestone road there. And then we'll have this one come down and connect. Create more grid patterns through this way. I think I'm happy to go with a little bit of European zoning here. We haven't used European theme yet. It can be pretty minging in most aspects, especially in vanilla without mods, because just the way they spawn in and the way they look, they can just be a little bit awkward to use, I find. But we're embracing the old grid pattern here, okay? Let's also keep it coming in and around the train station too, and then we can hook back in with this frame over here. come off that angle snap here as well so we can hit that road guideline nice and cleanly. There we go. Looking pretty cute, isn't it? Honestly, like, you'd be surprised what a difference these content creator roads make. If you don't have them, definitely check them out. Links down below to Instant Gaming if you want to come play with them. And then we'll create a few more connections into these pedestrian roads as well, these old cobblestone roads. And then just keep maintaining that grid pattern. Probably get the road here to actually follow the train line. And maybe we can have like an old sort of pathway that runs alongside this. So we're going to have that fishing wharf somewhere down here, aren't we? So we'll kind of lose that grid pattern as we come to develop the fishing area of the old downtown. But for right now, this is going to do me a decent job, I think. I'm pretty happy with the way this is looking. So it said it wants various part squares. So first of all, let's go ahead and assign this to be European for the most part. And then I think we're going to start bringing in... We've got density, residential and commercial demand right now. So it said it wants us to have lots of park squares. So I think we're going to go with some of this stuff here. Let's get this growing up. And then within these central spaces, we'll bring in some unique plazas maybe that we haven't used yet. And then let's create a little bit of a song and dance around this central plaza space. So we'll bring in some amusement park pathway. Function a little bit like that. I think what I will do here is let's do a little trick. Let's upgrade this road into a 4-lane. Then we'll place the Plaza of the Dead on it. So like that. And then we're going to downgrade it back into that 2-lane European stone one. Which will give us that extra tile space between the road and the plaza. And then we can bring the pathway all the way around it like that. Okay. We might even tree line this too. And then we'll change that tree into something a little fancier. That's pretty nice, isn't it? And then we can surround it with those older style buildings that the AI overlords are encouraging us to use. Make sure that we are actually fully in this area though. Or something like that. So it's kind of convenient actually that the AI has told us to use grid structures because it really lends itself better for playing with the European stuff. So have a bit of commercial and residential around here. Kind of get a bit of a mixed use space if you like. So now as the AI told us, we can walk down narrow cobblestone streets into scenic squares and public spaces to enjoy with our older style architecture. That's not too bad, is it? Of course it was detailing, but it's on its way. Really like all the tree lined streets around here too. That's what you want, isn't it? You know, that just screams. Those little older kind of verandas and balconies on the European buildings. They are nice. They're just better plopped, I think. That's the problem with the European stuff. Much better to play with it with mods if you have the ability to do that. Then same here again as well. Let's keep these big blocks of European coming in so we can surround this plaza. So coming on to the AI's next point on architecture, it says that the street should be done with 3 or 4 story Victorian era buildings, which we're kind of achieving here. With wooden verandas extending from the top floor. In contrast, closer to the harbour, you'll find whitewashed, clapboard-clad colonial-style housing with sloping roofs and colourful shutters. So probably some of the Art Deco housing is going to be best for that, I think. But we'll have to wait until we get over there. So in terms of what we could actually put up against the waterfront, we're going to need a service point here as well. So let's factor that in. We'll probably go for a large pedestrian area service point. I don't think we really use these that often, do we? It's a little bit more of a modern building though, isn't it? Let's paint this pedestrian area out onto the promenade so we can use this. Something like that should be good. Paint it up here too. And let's move that out the front of the train station. We'll have it there, I think. So yeah, in terms of achieving a bit of an older look against the waterfront, a lot of Seaside Resort stuff I imagine is going to be pretty good here. We can pick out some of the more colourful buildings, that'd be helpful, I think. Well, we have some of these. You know, I always find these can be a little bit too overbearing. Oh, what's that? Old Orchid House? Or Orchard House, but I guess we can pretend it says Orchid, right? I think we can. So we're going to have some much more colourful buildings along the waterfront, I think. I don't think I'm going to hate these. Try and pick some of the ones with the fancier roofs on. Okay, I imagine lots of oak trees and paths around these are going to be help to settle them in, because I think Having them back to back is a hard look to pull off, but we'll do our best, I think. At least where we can squeeze them in most places. We'll have that, and then we'll just have this pathway follow the train line. And then bring it down onto that waterfront when we can. We'll come down there. Another connection to come past the old Orchid house. Maybe we can get a bit of jacaranda in here to add a bit of colour against that sort of seafront. Definitely don't hate it. Let's use our slope function and just try and sort out this bay here because it's a bit minging. Yeah, there we go, that's what we want to do. Just get rid of that brown lip with the slope tool. Would help us a little bit. Okay, and then let's get the Hotel Colonial. Sounds like a good shout, doesn't it? The Atlantic Hotel, that sounds good too. We do also have the big pavilion here as well that we haven't used yet. Which I guess is okay. Not a massive lover of it here though, if I'm being totally honest. There's also the other pavilion here as well, which we haven't used yet. Which again, it's kind of dominating the seafront, isn't it? I really want them, these buildings to kind of line the seafront rather than be in the water themselves. So I think we'll avoid kind of the seaborne assets in this case. Maybe we can get another nice hotel up there like that. I think I'm going to hate it. It would be good here because it did actually give us a landmark, didn't it? That we should have the Grand Hotel, the Mariner's Rest. So let's use the old inn from Hotels and Retreats for this, I think. What does this actually look like? Let's have a little look here. It does have parking on the front, so I don't really want it on the pedestrian road. So in that case, I think we'll actually extend the road out this way now and continue the tree lining, but not have it pedestrianised. And then we'll use this as a way to hold a bit more commercial, some more colourful buildings. And also use it as an eventual excuse to hold the fishing wharf that'll be further down the town. So let's grab that hotel again. So the AI said this should be called the Mariner's Rest. And it currently has none of its shopping satisfied. It doesn't want business location. It does want seaside. Just best when there's shorelines or forests, seashore. It's right next to a shoreline and has 0 nature score. But whatever. So it does want colourful commercial. Is there any commercial options that I'm probably not thinking of here? I think the most colourful commercial we have is probably going to be Africa in miniature, I think, you know? So I think that's what we'll do. We'll remove a little bit of this here and we'll let some Africa in miniature commercial grow up. This is going to be super experimental, so please bear with this, alright? It's probably going to take a little while to come together. These AI builds usually do, but it certainly gives us, I don't know, a little bit more sort of inspiration and a different way to approach the cities. But it's quite fun if you haven't tried it. It's definitely a unique way to play the game, so give it a go if you haven't already. Okay, so we'll also have a look at some of the Africa miniature unique buildings too, because I reckon there's probably a little hidden gem in there that we aren't considering. Things like the Ego City Market. Yeah, see, that's perfect, isn't it? Colourful buildings, exactly like the AI told us. Lots of colourful shutters. Perfect. I'm happy with that. There you go, now its score's gone up a little bit. Cool, starting to see some people enjoy the waterfront now, which is nice. Been together, how's our European stuff doing over here? Not bad, let's keep those residences coming in. A bit more commercial around the back here too. And hopefully we're starting to achieve that vibe on the sort of town square floor now. Yeah, that's perfect, isn't it? That's getting together quite nicely. Those old European buildings. Very tasteful. I'm a fan of that. I think we will actually continue that grid pattern out. And have a couple of more sort of town public squares in there if you like. Let's see what Africa and miniature stuff is going to grow up like. Yeah, they're definitely the most colourful of the buildings, aren't they, I think? We do have a couple of levels to move through, so we won't historicalise them, we will let them grow up a little bit. Let's have a look at some more African stuff here. The Royal Museum is basically a giant bug, isn't it? Yeah, it's a spider riding a snake, which is certainly an acquired unique building, isn't it? I don't think we're going to use that one. Bantu Art Museum, that's perfect as well, lots of murals on that one. Some water wall, residential might actually not be too bad here just for the colourful murals that spawn on them. And then we've also got luxury hotels down here as well, but these are way too modern for the vibe I'm trying to create here. Well, African miniature, definitely helpful there, isn't it? Stuff like that's perfect. We've also got some African miniature unique buildings as well. Or education buildings, sorry. Especially the community school is a unique little number. Why don't we have this in here? And I guess we don't really want the National Library here. It's a little too chunky, so then maybe we could have it in here. I don't think so, actually. So the AI would also like us to include a town square, which I think the area around the train station is going to be perfect for. So I did have someone comment recently that you can actually place 2 of the concert areas after upgrading the first one. As far as I can tell, this is not the case. So we have a level 5 concert area over by the big pedestrian plaza we did ages ago now. But coming back to the concerts tab, the festival area itself is still locked and tells us that, you know, the building already exists. So if anyone knows what that's about, because apparently you can place 2 of these, but I can't get it to work. Don't know why. Don't know if it's been patched now. Maybe it has, because the Reddit post I saw on it too was like 6 months old. But let me know if you do know. But either way, we can certainly formulate a town square here, where the AI stipulates that it should serve as a gathering point for community events and live performances during summer events, which is why I wanted the concert area here, but no dice. But what we can include is a fan zone park. So I think we will have this here. We can just pretend it's some sort of concert grounds, maybe. Okay, somewhere where events can take place. And I think I'd also like another unique building here as well, in the shape of the clock tower, which is going to serve as a little bit of a center point, I think. So I think we'll grab some more of that 2-lane cobblestone road, bring it around here. I think that's going to serve as a pretty nice little centralization, isn't it? Another kind of old building, I think. I think I'm going to be happy with that. And then we can probably include a little bit more of that European zoning around here as well, to kind of face into the central square. I think we'll have it knock up and around this way. All the way through here too, although I don't know why this road has brought its zoning back. We did say no thank you to that. There we go. We can prioritise the zoning here. So let's bring some more pathways through the town square. Let's also come into our filter as well and see what other plazas we have to play with. I'll tell you what, actually, it'd be cool if we could actually centralise this fan zone park with the station. If we bring a road up through this way right now, we just really want to create... I'm going to delete this hotel here for the time being, just so I can accommodate my asset. Let's go for this angle here. Let's make sure we actually upgrade with zoning though, that would be helpful. And then if we can... It's not going to centralise with the clock tower. And then we'll bring the road up and around it and hook back in like that. And then we can place some more plazas in and around here. Let's bring our Haven Plaza up a little bit too. And we did actually have a good suggestion last episode as to if these Japanese content creator stations can actually have a pedestrian pathway placed at the back. We could do it in Thessia, but we had anarchy for it to happen. But if people can walk out this side, it would make this little town centre square plaza a little bit more, I guess, believable, I suppose. Oh yes, they do. There you go. It does work. They will walk out the back in vanilla as well. Okay, then in that case, let's head to last episode's transport hub and do that over here if we can. Can we link you boys together? Let's see where would make sense if we went from here to here and then here to here. We'll see if that works. I've got a feeling that it's not going to. We could possibly encourage the connection by feeding it through this area over here, if not into the elevated pathway there. Just as a little side experiment to today's build, but we'll keep our eye on it throughout the episode, see if anyone does take it. But interesting to know that they will do that though. There you go, yeah. Yeah, they've even come into this station here, just glitching through the fencing to actually get there. Which I'm happy with, right? It's all more walkability, it's going to create a much more kind of believable, authentic town square space, I guess. Cool. So the AI also said it wants lots of flower beds and landscaping around here, which is fine. So let's come into our part life stuff. We'll grab some nice flower beds and we can probably stick these on a nice little prop line tool fill. Let's give them a 90-degree rotation as well. We'll have them here like this, either side. Maybe some down the middle as well. It'd be nice if we could repeat that pattern one more time up this way. Yeah, I'm happy with that. And I think we'll complement that big landscape garden there with some more amusement park pathway to run alongside. That is vanilla one. Let's make sure it's actually amusement park pathway there. And then we'll snap into the grid over here as well. And then I think we'll get some wild hedge patterns here too. We'll stick these on a much smaller line tool fill and then just make some little landscaped hedge gardens here where we can in vanilla, where the anarchy of the collision mesh of the station will allow us to at least. There we go. Try to get some colour in here. A couple of these flame trees maybe. So hopefully now we're fulfilling what the AI's asked of us. We've got cobblestone streets with older architecture. Also colourful landscaping and flower beds. Benches and open town squares, etc. Slowly coming together, isn't it? And this train station is getting increasingly busy now as well, isn't it? With so many people coming in and out of downtown, heading to the old transport hub as well. Good few unique buildings here as well, so this will be drawing a lot of tourists to the area. And then since this is still our kind of town centre, why don't we see if we can squeeze in some of the new parks here. That we can squeeze the sidewalk restaurant in. Can we change this to the older brick one so it kind of blends in with the older vibe we're trying to create here? I don't think I mind that. We've got a bit of parting pizza. Pathways connecting back on there. And I think I still want lots of that European zoning as well, facing into this central square, so we'll zone that up where we can afford it to come in. Again, trying not to mass zone it into the awkward shapes, because that's when European can get really quite nasty, so we would want to try and avoid that where we can. Bring some lit oaks through there as well, lots of little pathways that connect people back onto the pedestrian front. It's kind of the fun with playing with the AI, you know, is that I would have never have come up with this without it. You know, an old European style seafront with a little concert area and plazas, open areas around the clock tower and the train station. It makes you think really differently about what assets you can use. But I'm enjoying it so far, I think. Still got a little way to go. But another thing it asked for was a fish market, wasn't it, as part of the wharf. So we'll place the fish market in and around the town centre, I think, so people can, you know, come here and buy fish, etc. It'd be good if we could have it here, wouldn't it? But the networks are going to say no thank you to that. But this road here I don't think is particularly necessary, is it? I think we can afford to lose this one. Yeah, I don't think I mind it here. It's going to be a nice industrial unit up against the back of the train lines, but I'd certainly want to bring in that road that we just deleted back again to perhaps hold a couple of green cities markets. I think is going to be most appropriate, I think, there. Let's also downgrade the zoning off of this road here as well. And then we'll bring down our old cobblestone streets to hold various bits of green cities commercial, which again is going to have to require a new district because we're using a couple of different specializations here. So we'll bring this one up through. We'll just rename this one to Haven Fish Market. Make sure to capitalise the M. And then we'll give that local and organic produce. There we go. And let's just zone up some fairly random patterns here. We want the smaller green city stuff to come in tends to be the more narrower zonings that generate it. And then we can piece this area together, hopefully with a little bit more pedestrian pathway action, I think. Linking people back through to the arterial road here. In a couple of different places. I think a little bit of nature reserve fencing would actually go quite well if we're going to be seeing Green Cities markets on the opposite side here, next to the fish market. Don't think I hate that. But either way, now we have the fish market in, let's turn our attention toward the actual fishing wharf itself. So we'll grab a little bit of key. I don't want to fully key up the shoreline here, but at least where the fishing harbours are going to sit, we will have a little bit of it. And I think simple seawall fenceless is going to be the best shout. And we'll just let this curve just for a small bit. It's not going to be a huge fishing wharf. Snapping our angle here too as we come down. And come up to this road guideline there. Let's go into our fishing industry, of course. And again, I want to keep it really low key. We got, what's the fish here? Anchovies, Anchovy City. Interesting, we've done so little fishing in Orchid Bay. I don't want the algae farms. Oh, that was the fish factory, wasn't it, you idiot egg? Tool. I want the fish market. That's the wrong bloody asset. You're going to stop me from placing it here? No, you will let me place my fish market here. We'll just have to rework that train angle a little bit. Let's place our fish market in at this point. And then we'll reinstate that train line. It might have to bend off slightly on the angle, but it's not something we're really going to notice, I don't think. There you go, that's perfect. There we go. How did I not notice that? Of course, use the wrong bloody asset. Okay, yeah, so don't want this fishing wharf to be huge, so I think we're just going to go with the classic fishing harbour. Maybe 2 of these, and that'll do. Although the key is going to say no, isn't it? In that case, then what we do need to do is play with this straight keys, because that curve is actually affecting it. What we will do is snap to angle, and then we'll have it run like this. That should help it sit in a little bit more. Yeah, there we go, that's what we want. So we'll just connect these in with a little bit of road guideline curvage. Should be pretty sensible. I don't really want this road to be tree lined anymore, probably up to about there. And then we'll just grab a regular road so we start to blend out of Haven. And then we'll bring it down onto another rail crossing. Connect back into the arterial if you want to. We'll also grab our little cobblestone road here as well to curve back in. Something like that. We'll do something with these spaces as well, of course. Traffic lights certainly do not need to be on these roads here, so let's remove them while we are talking about them. Yeah, priority to the main road at all times. Stop as you're coming out of here, please. Cool, so that should be fun enough. This also doesn't need a traffic light on it either. Cool, let's upgrade the trees on here as well. I think I'm happy with the California shorties running along the coastal road here. Not horrendous. Lots of tourists now coming down. Let's have a little walk down our promenade, shall we? Oh, police helicopters here. I'm enjoying these older buildings down by the sea. How's our hotel doing? The Mariner's Rest, is it called? It is in profit, just about. Doesn't have... I mean, it's... Is that because the water's moving closer to and from the building? It's so stupid, you know. I really hate the hotels and resorts mechanic. Like, let me put my hotels where I want. I don't have to satisfy values. But whatever. It's still nice assets. And then with this road here, we'll create a little exit point here. And I think we'll just do a little roundabout to create a entrance into the fishing wharf. We'll just do 160 like that. And then... I guess it could be handy actually to feed these into a one-way loop. It would help with traffic flow. Not that I imagine it's going to be particularly bad around here, but It's always better to be future-proofed, isn't it? With the road guidelines here. Book everyone in. And let's get our fishing routes set up as well. Again, we'll just send them generally out into the area. Thank God we can cross over the tile boundary with these, right? Should be enough. You don't usually need to send these lines too far out for them to be efficient. Something like that should do it, I think. Cool. And then we'll kind of round off that natural forest that appears back this way over here. We could put the fish factory out here, I guess, you know. Wouldn't be the worst thing ever, but I don't know. We'll see what happens. So we got only one of the assets that I wanted, which was this one here. It's these all the market things we want, right? This is what's gonna tickle the pickle today. And they're just simple 2 deep ones, aren't they? So let's see if we can replicate those coming in there. Remove some of this stuff too. And watch that grow up. I don't mind a few of these little cafes either too, because the AI stipulates that the fish market should be a bustling fish market. Converted into an artisan market selling local crafts, artwork and seafood specialties is what the AI has asked for. So I guess we can get away with these, right? Kind of like selling maybe some street food with maybe like stir-fried prawns or whatever, right? You can sell something here. Or Green Bill's Pills Pharmacy. But this is the stuff I'm really after. The eco markets. But that will grow up with time. And how are we feeling about the Africa image stuff here? Unfortunately, there's just not a massive asset pool with Africa in miniature, so you end up with quite a lot of asset repetition, but these more colourful mural buildings are really what I'm after. And of course, the occasional unique building really helps with that sort of colourful seafront vibe, doesn't it? Especially these ones here. You got the big eco market here too. I like this one. So Haven has a couple of markets, a little town square now. Some European stuff over here too. Then what we will do, because we've still got some residential demand, haven't we? Is we'll do a few more of these 10 by 10 frames. Because I'd like ideally more than just one of these little town squares. So extend it out by a couple more here. And do we want to connect back into the arterial system at this point? This road's already got quite a lot of crossings on it. I don't particularly want more. So I think we'll probably leave it. And then this forest that sits in this part of the map we use to shelter from the highway interchange. And that should sort it all out. And yeah, we'll bring that European stuff over here. What other plazas do we have left to play with here? I guess we can stick some small fountain plazas back to back, can't we? That should do us a nice job, and then we'll do another little sort of, let's see, move it over into the other one now. Let's go for this space here. Of course, they're all park assets, so it's going to make the Sims nice and happy. So we'll do pedestrian walking pathway, and then we'll upgrade those into amusement park paths with trees, I imagine. And I know they're kind of pointless pathways, they can cut across, but it's not really leading them anywhere. It's really just for that popping colour that I'm after. And then why don't we go for a little bit of silver birch through here? And that should give us a nice little colourful town plaza here, shouldn't it? And again, we'll watch that European high density come back in and surround all these plazas as well. I mean, did they survive the noise pollution from the commercial here? I think they did, didn't they? I think we'll have another block of commercial. Why not? They seem to be tolerant of the noise pollution at least. Fantastic. Cool. So we'll have that there. This has turned into an incredibly diverse, unique town, hasn't it? So let's have a little wander through the streets here, shall we? So remembering what the AI asked for, it wanted old architecture, public spaces, 4 to 5 story buildings, cobblestone streets, which we have, and then we emerge into that town square that can hold events in the summer. Okay, a little bit of green space here too, all based around a train station, with plaza spaces with people moving around now. Quite a few people taking this back pathway, isn't there? But it's come together. These Seaside Resort assets are going to take a lot of blending in. We'll do this in our time-lapse. And then in terms of the rest of the town, I think just some European suburbia to serve as outer-lying suburb will crawl quite nicely up into these mountain valleys to look back over the town, I think. So I think we'll just develop some European suburbia out here in our time-lapse, just to keep satisfying this residential demand, keep getting Orchid Bay's population up too. Goodness gracious, just make sure we actually extend that zone out there. Does it just pause it here? Yeah, definitely not, definitely not. I was thinking maybe could we do a mix and match, but no. It's either European or not, we can't do both. Cool, so let all this grow up as European. Let's just delete it to help it along its way, because it looks pretty horrible right now. Please leave. And then before we do head toward a detail in time-lapse, let's just have a little recap of this station. Doesn't look like they are, does it? Yeah, they're all taking the main exit out of the station to come out the front door, and no one's walking down the middle platforms. Yeah, so it looks like it won't work on these stations here, at least connecting them back to back. Looks like they want to be connected to a road, which is a little bit of a shame. Thank you for the idea last episode. It was a really solid shout, but doesn't look like it'll work. But oh well, still lots of walkability over here. And there's still more stuff to design over here as well, right? We've got another build out here at least. Want to get a prison in this area too. Maybe a couple more skyscrapers as well. And I like that we've got a little bit of density over here now as well. All this European stuff. We'll create a nice tree border over this way too. And hopefully a lot of our industrial traffic coming out the seaports are just going to take this road, rather than them coming back down the main street, which I think they probably will. How are we doing for efficiency? Yeah, 100% loaded. We seem to be okay, and this should be supplying that fish market now too. Yeah, this is what we want, little artisan market stalls like that. All happy with this. This one's perfect as well. Just keep deleting the ones we don't want, keep refining them, they will eventually come in. I'd be happy with a couple of little markets up against the back of the train line as well. Let's zone up some of those. But otherwise, an incredibly random build today, courtesy. Oh, there you go, there's a summer event on in the town square. Perfect. The AI overlords will be pleased. But a really random build today, definitely something I wouldn't have come up with without asking the AI for a Seaside downtown build. But one that certainly needs a detail in time-lapse to tie it together, but I am pretty happy with what's occurred here today. But let's get it detailed, all these spaces filled with fencing, pathways and zoning, and also bring a little bit of European suburbia into this space over here as well, so there's a bit of low density for the town of Haven. And then pathways, more African miniature zoning if we can afford it, and just generally tie the space together to create a little bit of an old town waterfront, courtesy of our AI overlords. So let's get it detailed, and then we'll be right back. Okay guys, so let's have a detailed review of what has turned into one of the most unique builds I think we've ever done on the channel. These AI episodes always turn out kind of fun. This one is certainly no exception. So up in Haven Hills, our European suburbia has now spanned up the mountains here, as it does over near Biffy Gardens. Dropped in a bit of car parking and one of Bad Peanut's sports fields, and then just some general pathway and overgrowth as we merge into the fish factory, which now lies by our fishing wharf over here. We'll be down the waterfront, where we've used Find It to pull in the vanilla lighthouse and just painted out a bit of terraforming here with some rocks, just so our lighthouse can sit out in the water, which looks really fun. And then, like the AI requested, lots of colourful buildings up against the seafront. So we've got the locomotive halls, some of the Africa in miniature zoning, some more behind it as well, with more parking for people that want to come and enjoy the waterfront. The Bantu Museum, this building here, the Ego City Market, super bright and colourful. Our hotel as well, which we have now named into the Excelsior Hotels, courtesy of a name request quite a few episodes ago now. But that's the first time we've placed a hotel since then, so thank you for that suggestion. We'll leave the comment up on screen. Down toward our seaside resort, we've brought in some gazebos, bits of forestry fencing, pavilions, nice colourful trees and bushes. Tried to make little gardens for them, fountains, etc. A little couple of benches around here too. And it settled in really nicely. These seaside resort assets can always be a bit tricky to use, but I'm happy with the way they've settled in here. We've also brought in another layer here alongside the main one, so we can hold some waterfront assets like the fishing pier and the marinas and the boat museum. This is kind of like an old-fashioned kind of steamboat, isn't it? So pretty appropriate for a town like this, I think. And really happy with the way the seafront's developed. It's really tricky. Took a while to get here, I think, but it has turned out pretty nicely now. I think I am relatively happy with it. I suppose this lighthouse and the kind of rock formations in the water turned out really sweetly. Heading further into the town, we arrive at Haven Wharf, where we have our fish market now with all that green city stuff. Again, fulfilling what the AI asked for of sort of seafood specialties and artisan markets. All knocking around here again with the train line flowing right through the middle. And then this takes us back into the town centre, where we've got one of those old firehouses from the seaside resorts. Also dropped in another train station here as well, that feeds out from the central hub we built last episode, of course. But this isn't nearly as busy as the one here. Look at this. A ton of people wanting to get in and out of Haven. Extremely busy town, I'm guessing because of all the unique buildings here. Just drawing so many people, but really busy transport networks in Orchid Bay, always nice to see. Our main town square, where our events are hosted during the summer evenings, as the AI said. Flower plazas, this fan zone worked out really nicely, and I'm actually glad we went with this over the concert hall. I think the concert area would have been a little bit too big, but the fan zone works perfectly. Another Seaside Resort police station in here too, so we do have fire and police coverage for this area. And then some classic bush lining, and really fun to see so many people using this back pathway to get around onto the station. So yeah, it's just turned out really nicely. Coming into our European area, we've pretty much stuck into the blocks, as you kind of have to in vanilla. And then, you know, it fulfills what the AI requested, right? Narrow cobblestone streets with old buildings and public spaces with trees and detail and landscaping. Turned out really nicely. This one over here came together really nicely as well. Some kind of Barcelona super block vibes here, you know, with these gridded European stuff, and I think it is the best way to use them in vanilla. On curvy roads, it's one of the probably the most ugly theme, I think, isn't it? If you don't grid the European stuff in vanilla, it just gets horrendously ugly very quickly just because of the way the buildings grow in. But I'm happy with it. It's turned out pretty nicely, and it's nice to finally have some European buildings in Orchid Bay. These aren't, of course, the first, and yeah, it turned out really nicely. It's a very unique build. I would definitely not have thought of this had I been playing cities without the AI generation ideas, but if you haven't tried it, I definitely recommend just going to ChatGPT and asking for an idea and seeing what it spits back out at you, because it certainly makes you think outside the box. And I love the way all this high density faces into this town square with all the people, and then it spills onto that seafront with the old kind of red brick cafe and steamboats down by the water, all this seaside resort stuff. Super unique town. Probably quite divisive, I imagine. Won't be for everyone, this build. But either way, I have enjoyed it, and it's certainly grown on me as the episode's gone on. But otherwise, guys, that is going to do it for today. I'd like to thank you all so much for watching. If you've enjoyed, likes, comments and shares below really do help me out. Equally as much if you haven't enjoyed it, please feel free to leave a dislike as well. I hope you've enjoyed our second take on an AI episode. We'll certainly do more of these, maybe a park in an industrial area next time. But definitely wanted to try it out for a seaside downtown, and it's come out pretty nicely. Really quirky build, but I think we've managed to pull it off. Lots of different ideas all converging here in vanilla cities, which can be a challenge to say the least. Please do enjoy your cinematics, but I'll shut up and leave it there. I'd like to thank you all so much for watching, and as always, enjoy the rest of your day.